Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to X's for Show. We're here talking the Canada Season 6 finale of Drag Race. I'm Nico.
I'm TK.
That makes me Tori.
I'm Jonah.
And I'm your producer, KEVO. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But we are super stoked and so excited for our winner of Season 6.
Now, okay, this has been a crazy season. We've had a great time with it. So I just want to say that we started this whole season by becoming fangoths when Van Goth herself, Canadian Van Gothic, showed up in our conversation just to give some love and said she loves us. And so she did bring them up. How does everybody feel about the top 4 and the winner? I'm just going to throw out there, I loved so many of the girls from this season. It was hard to love a top 4 when I loved 10 top 4s. Like, there wasn't a bad configuration. It was like a Pokemon team. I could have picked any number of them and they would have each filled a different amazing spot and given me so many of like the incredible unique moves that they bring. That said, this was Van's season. This was Van's season top to bottom, but the special spot in my heart for Ebony, for Sammy, for Caramilk. It was tough to lose any girl.
Yeah, it was a really strong season of competitors, a bunch of really great girls, a bunch of great people to root for. Nobody was in the top 4 that I was like, that is just insane. But yeah, it really was Van Gogh season. In contrast to other really obvious winners of Drag Race, especially that we're seeing a lot now. And this is something I said in the past. When Sasha Colby walked in, it was like, okay, so Sasha Colby's going to win this season. And that whole season really was just like, I don't really see how she's not winning. Like, there was no point where it felt super like she wasn't going to win. And with Van Gogh, it's kind of the same thing. Like, she was the person that I guessed would win really early on, and it just kind of stayed that way. She's absolutely one of my favorites. That actually is fun to watch. Even when there's no suspense, it actually is fun to watch somebody just be at the top of their game and just deliver on challenges all the time. What, just in case anybody from Drag Race is watching, what is so weird is when that happens, when somebody's doing great, but then they're also getting weird production boosts that are uncomfortable and don't really make any sense. So what I really loved about this season was that it was strong all the way through, but that we had this really, really strong winner who it didn't feel like at any point I can point to, I was like, oh, I mean, like, they just gave her such a like unnecessary leg up when she was already doing well. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, because her production boosts were in her character creation when they set her design and fashion to an 11.
Yeah. I mean, she was such a talent all the way through, and I was really happy. If nothing else, I'm always really happy when a queen who deserves it never is going to have to sit there and be like, yeah, I know that people are saying that I didn't deserve it. She just had a great run.
Agreed for sure. I still have a little bit of scared about, like, I just think that Van Gogh wouldn't like me very much as a person. I think I'm a little too rough around the edges and a little too sweet for her, but I have been dazzled by her talent and her skills this entire time. I've been like banging on the drum of Van Gogh being quite the competitor a whole lot of the time. And I think this was such a joy to watch, feeling like I wasn't being shoved in this direction of just letting it happen in the middle of all of this talent. Ebony, I mean, there was a point, and a long point, where I honestly thought that it might be a twin win. It might be Van Gogh and Ebony to win it both. Because Canada tries new stuff that, no one else is really willing to do out here. And so, to see them do a double win on a regular season would have been really interesting. Crowning a villain is also highly unusual. We haven't done it in the US very often. So it's really exciting. I think this was so fun. I think I loved that I got to have Sammy Landry in the final. I think I was so enamored of her character, of the way that she approached drag, of like who she is as a person. I just think that she was so wonderful, and you know, we have really strong 5th and 6th placements. I think that this is just, you know, Saltina, Caramel, Velma. I mean, Hazel coming back to be getting Miss Congeniality is so fun. I think there's a lot of people on the show who were gone before we got to really see them like really shine, and so I'm very excited for what this means for like a Canada versus the world, or if one of them would come over to All Stars, those kinds of things. I just think it's so much fun to have such a strong cast and still get an extremely strong winner where we were like, yes, this is the correct choice.
Absolutely. I said it in our Meet the Queens video and the first episode how smitten I was with Van, who they are as a queen and how they come across. To me, very entertaining for TV. I think Van just makes good TV, and that comes across in many different ways. Part of that is she's somebody who just wears her emotions on her sleeve, and she doesn't really have a poker face about what's bothering her, and she's gonna let you know if she's bothered. And I think it's hysterical, and I think it's perfect television. We really don't get to see a lot of villains crowned, and Van wasn't really villainous per se. She was just kind of like in her feelings and just let people know about it, as opposed to like actively being like rude or mean or sabotaging or anything along those lines. She didn't really do any of that. She just was just in her feelings a lot. So I hesitate to even call her like a true villain, so to speak, but I do appreciate that she is someone who, we look at the past couple of winners of Drag Race Canada, and she's somebody who comes already with a very identifiable, noticeable brand that she was really strong in showcasing throughout the season, as well as what I imagine she can do with the opportunities given to the crown. I also happen to love her drag house. Finding out that she's both Perla and Aurora Matrix's drag sister, and like they're a trio together, is quite possibly my favorite thing in the entire world, because I am smitten with all 3 of these queens. So this is the evil Powerpuff Girls of my dreams. The Rowdy Rough Girls as opposed to the Rowdy Rough Boys.
Yes.
I actually kind of thought that the edit was leaning towards an Ebony win, and I would have also been nearly, if not the same amount of happy if Ebony had won. I think going into it, Meet the Queens, it's not that Ebony isn't this interesting, charismatic person that draws you in, but a lot of her Meet the Queen a lot of her cards were being held to her chest. And then I think throughout the season, seeing a phenomenal lip sync and stage presence she owns, her dramatic monologue that she was able to deliver so well, the way that she's just so warm and inviting and able to like command a stage and a presence, I thought was so interesting. I wonder if part of why this wasn't an Ebony win, which for my money in the top 2, as much as I really wanted Samuel Angie to win, I kind of thought it would be, once we got to this top 4, I kind of knew it was going to be between Ebony and Van, and it makes sense. I love having a sister finale. I think it works great. I just wonder if Ebony's brand not being as identifiable and a little bit more malleable compared to Goth's, who Van has her stamped face and a very artistic viewpoint of her drag. I wonder if that's kind of why they went with someone with a little more identifiable, because you look at, these past couple of winners, and I think there might have been a noticeable brand missing. Not to say that, queens like the Virgo Queen or Venus or Giselle Lullaby, or, I would never say that about Isis or Priyanka. I think that there just might be missing a little something that they wanted for this time around. For queens who I thought was going to make the top 4, I genuinely thought Saltina was going to be there. Not because I think everybody there doesn't deserve it already, but because of Saltina's credit outside the show and the way that she was so endearing in a hysterical monologue, like theater kid way, that like I was like, oh, she's good, she's top 4. She has to be. The way that the show was treating her, the way that she like surprised me with her dance ability in the Lollapalooza, I was like, oh, she's a shoo-in for the top 4. It's who I don't know who she's gonna be versing in the finale lip sync. So I was actually just shocked based off of what I know about Saltina, how she performed throughout the competition up until her elimination, that I was like, oh, I didn't think she would go. But I mean, she had one of the best finale looks. Like, this is a step down look.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I really appreciate that you pointed to was specifically, as much as Van, acted certain ways and reacted very extremely in certain scenarios, going through and getting these screen caps and really reviewing the episode, I really could see where she was coming from. I even checked with Jonah that her stats were correct and that she has the most wins of any top queen. That's a big deal. While I am quick to react as well. So if anything, I can simply relate. But, she is a very accomplished winner, and it did feel like people weren't necessarily looking at her as strong competition, but she really was. She was, the seamstress, such an amazing dancer, and I don't think that you can really paint her as a villain so much as have a reaction to her having a reaction to you. So something that I really love that she said when she got her crown was that she's going to enter her congenial era. So that's really very sweet. And we had such a lovely time when she came into our live chat on our Meet the Queens. And I am just so happy for her. And I think that she absolutely earned this on every level.
I love that. I do agree that she has 4 wins. That's a record. And, it's one of those funny things where, like, Mariah Carey has the most ever weeks at number 1, even without All I Want Is for Christmas Is You. So, like, it's kind of crazy that even without the crown, she still has the most successful Canada season ever. And so, like, there's something about that that's so impressive, and you just can't take it from her. And it sort of did shape the way the season worked out. Like, she had the most wins. And I'm just going to put it out there. I only really liked Ebony's verse in the final episode. Honestly, for me, I need a verse to be more than just like reading off a list of things about myself. And I need you to know these things about myself. And in case you didn't know, I can dance and act and sing. And I'm a model and I'm really, really pretty. Like, that's not my verse. And I thought Ebony actually shaped some lyrics. I thought that Ebony actually put together a story. The other person that I would have liked to have seen in the finale in general, who I thought might have been able to also kind of shape a story. I still think that Hazel was way too early and out. I would have loved to have seen her in this finale. So glad that she, in fact, did enter her congenial era. But for me, Hazel didn't get the screen time she deserved. And I would really like to see a little bit more from her, because I think she would have made this finale a lot of fun. And I don't know who I would have replaced her with. Maybe I do. But I'm really happy for everyone in the top 4.
For me, of course, the person that I would have loved to have seen in the finale is Maya Fox. I thought Maya was way too early out. And especially it was so unfortunate to go during the slayoffs. And I thought she won her lip sync, but that's subjective, whatever. But I just think she's absolutely gorgeous, and there were a lot of things we didn't get to see her do. She's another one who I really could have seen doing well in this challenge and giving us something more from a verse. And I will be rude and say it. I love her so much. I would have replaced PM in the finale. I mean, she's a really cool queen. She's got a big personality and a lot going on, but I did feel as though she was in the bottom a lot. And sometimes queens are in the bottom a lot and it's just a weird thing that's happening or bad luck or a run of things. But usually what it is, I find, is that they have shown a lot of good stuff and they're not doing that great at Drag Race.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's like, I love the pumpkins, but I would never put Billy Corgan on American Idol. So like, yes.
For PM, we were getting to the point where I was like, I feel like I've seen what you're all about. I don't think you're doing great at these challenges, and that's no tea or shade against you. Like now I would rather just see you in your element rather than here. Because here is just not the best venue for your talents. And it's okay if Drag Race isn't the best venue for your talents. Like it is not for everyone. And that doesn't say anything about your ability as a queen that I would want to see you on a show or on a tour or anything like that. And there are other people who didn't get the screen time who I felt like I just would have liked to have gotten to go on more of a journey with them.
Yeah, I think we've had such an amazing season full of queens. There's a lot of gals, like I said, who've gone too soon. I think that we continue to have issues with the French speakers on the show, where the show isn't built for them to succeed as easily, and I think our Velma kind of fell prey to that. And I think her story is also so fantastic to get up and get out and get put into the pantheon of things. And so I think she would have turned out some really great stuff, both in the finale, in the verse. I would have loved to have seen her go through I know they don't call them the cunt monologues, but whatever that penultimate episode challenge royale was. I think we had a lot of queens that could have dominated any particular part of it, and I'm so excited to see what each and every one of them does next, for sure.
Tori, I want to thank you for saying Velma, because I was torn between Hazel and Velma, and I knew you'd come in with that classy ass answer. So I knew I could trust you to have my back.
Listen, there's scissor sisters, and then there's you gotta have sisters, sisters, not sisters.
Who might have scissored before.
Never too such devoted. So Jonah, I think you had said that you were feeling good about Saltina in the finale.
Yes, I was. I just think she's an incredibly talented queen. I got nervous because I was like, oh, this show's going to do this girl so poor and dirty. They're going to we'll call it the Jan edit, as we like to dub it, which is where you kind of just edge someone along and then you don't really give them anything. And then at the last second, you just kind of cut them. But I'm really happy with how she performed. I hope she feels proud. I know there are times where she felt a little in her head, and it felt in a way, I don't want to say manufactured, but it could tell like she maybe had an idea of where she wanted her story to go along. But then they released a clip online of her meditating, talking about her grandmother's a cabin in the woods, and seeing her grandmother, and she just goes, "It's about listening. It's about listening." And it's just Caramel going, "You okay over there, girl?" And she's like, "It's about listening." And it's the funniest thing because it's just so sweet. And like, oh, she's just a nerd. She's just a nerd, and she's a little kooky. She might be a little weird, and I really appreciate that. So I was a little bit bummed by her elimination, but I think if she ever came back for like a Canada versus the world, she would kind of pull a lemon and just sweep the entire thing, because she's so multi-talented that I imagine a Canadian crown is within her future. Mm-hmm. So I hope she feels good and proud of the work she was able to accomplish on the show.
I think for me, a lot of names have already been said, like Hazel and Velma. And I feel like Caramel is sort of obvious because she was last cut. So I would have loved to see her go further. So a name I'm going to give a shout out to instead is Star Doll. That felt like such a sad early elimination. She had such adorable, entertaining energy. And the fact that we didn't get to see more of her. Boy, did she make sure she could get that screen time in the finale, though. But no, she was great. I really wish we could have seen more from her, and maybe we will in the future. It's one of the things that's so cool about this diversity of competition we have now. She could be on a Versus the World. She could be on the next Slasian Royale. She could be on the next Global. Who knows?
And, I think that's what I'm taking away from this season. I fell in love with more girls this season than I have in some seasons of US. There was such an unbelievable wealth of talent this season, of heart. I mean, I have an unfortunate relationship with Canada seasons in general, where like season 4 has my favorite international competitor of all time. I will never.
We'll get to her later.
Oh, my gratitude, you know. So I think Canada, you know, compared to UK this past season where every girl was spectacular and none of them got to shine. I feel like this season of Canada was a spectacular season of the girls shining. Now, I agree, Maya and Velma did not deserve to be cut in that slay off. That was not cool. It did not feel right. And it's not that PM deserved to go home instead. It's that format for sending 2 girls home, it just feels a little slasher movie. You know what I mean? There's just no respect given to the quality of survival for anyone. I loved this season more than I expected. I think the winner is so deserving. The top 4 is deserving. But again, you could convince me easily any one of these girls should be in the finale. And that's what makes a season of Drag Race exciting, when you're not sure who to support. I will say that I'm often like out here saying I should be out helping write these songs. I mean, okay, when it's like Leland, I can make that comment. But when it's The Loneliest Times, Rufus Wainwright, I feel like I have a little bit less to stand on. But Rufus, listen, I'm not coming for your gig, but if next year Canada wants their first US songwriter, I'll gladly step into your shoes. Hopefully you have a size 13.
Did they say that he wrote these songs with them, or was he just coaching them?
It doesn't matter. I will be instantly compared to him.
That's fair.
You would win.
Oh man.
Oh, Rufus.
Rufus, San Francisco. Okay, TK, tell me what's up.
Yeah, I mean, this was such a strong season of girls. I remember, you know, we really liked them during Meet the Queens and then absolutely fell in love with them as soon as the show started. It was just a really great bunch. They were complicated. You know, even a queen like Saltina, who I was like really hard on and really skeptical of, I think had a really strong showing, was a really interesting character. Van Gogh, you know, said that she was a love me or hate me kind of person. And I think she lived up to that in like the best possible way. I think she said a lot of stuff that a lot of people would be like, yeah, I hate her for being like that, but she won. And ultimately I was just so charmed and taken with her personality and her confidence and her talent. And I really appreciate somebody that is, you know, really aware that they might come off as caustic and doesn't play it up like a Mistress Isabel Brooks to be a troll and get that sort of identity, but also doesn't play it down to be nicer than they kind of are ever going to be outside of the cameras being on. They're just 100% themselves. And I felt like a lot of girls were very authentic in that way. I will say, I think the show failed them a little bit, especially as it continued to go. And it did really start with the double sachet and the slay-offs. And then I just think from there, they didn't really know how to highlight everybody's best features, and the challenges weren't quite right for them. And the energy just died a little bit. It was not the fault of any girl. They all kept showing up and going really hard and, you know, showing, you know, that sort of Drag Race journey of, you know, discovering that you can do something you never thought you would do, like a monologue. And I will say, I give them a little bit of credit for the monologue. That was, you know, that's something that they never really do in American seasons. And it was a challenge that was kind of unique. But in general, I thought that unfortunately the show failed the girls a little bit and failed the audience a little bit in delivering on what was just such a really fantastic energy season of girls and group of girls. And thankfully, at the end of the day, that energy made it worth it to watch all the way through and made it a great season. And I just, am very happy to have watched and really happy for Van Gogh.
Yeah, I think like we've been talking so much about the girls, but I also think like a lot of the format really helped with these things. Getting to see how all the girls exemplify each of the 4 characteristics for the finale. I think the splitting up of Snatch Game and Design was such an interesting decision to try to let the gals show off as best as they could, see where the cards fell. I feel like a lot of the challenges were set up for people to succeed very well. I think the problem is, I think we held onto the beaver for a little too long. I think if we had said that the beaver is done before the slay-offs, I think a lot of our issues with how the second half of the season would kind of smooth out a little bit. I also think they probably should have had 10 episodes instead of 9, but that's a Crave is going to have more money now from Heated Rivalry, so maybe they'll put it into Drag Race.
Honestly, Canada's Project Runway had 10 flawless episodes beginning to end with a winner that made me literally sob. So yeah, hopefully Crave looks over at their own programming. I agree.
Yeah. So I think I continue to love that we get to see new stuff out of Canada and that we get to have all of these little like permutations of how challenges could be, how challenges could work in the future. I like the way that Canada pushes the envelope in a way where it's all very familiar, but with a solid twist to it.
Absolutely. I think Canada stays winning when it comes to innovation in terms of drag. The fact that we have the second casted biological woman queen who is still a drag queen in every sense of the word, who also doubles and dabbles as a drag king, and was really kind of soft launching the idea that all kind of drags can and would excel on Drag Race given the opportunity. And it's the fact that Velma is such the perfect casting to sort of kind of dip your toes into this, because she doubles as both. She's not just a drag queen or a drag king as Johnny. She does both. And it's really just, Canada stays winning when it comes to innovation. Canada is always the series that wants to do different things, that tries weird things, whether it's a swing or a miss. I appreciate that Canada is always trying to find something interesting or different to do. We didn't like the challenge as much, but the idea of doing Snatch Game Rusical on Canada vs. the World 2 was interesting. I love the idea of choose your own challenge. What do you want to do this week? Unless you're PM and you don't get to choose, which is sad. So I love what this series brought. I know that maybe in the middle it kind of dipped a little, but I feel like it picked it up back at the end. I loved the challenge of, you're doing 4 challenges this week and you will earn your spot to the top 4. I thought everything about that was incredible, and I wish other series would take more risks like Canada would be doing. I wonder if now that Michelle is taking control of Down Under, if she would be open to kind of doing some different things, because I don't think Rue will be. Rue has a very strict idea of what she wants to do, what she's trying to accomplish, what she's trying to bid for. And if, Rue often submits herself for the Emmys for live reality competition host, and straying too far away from what caused her to get the wins in the first place, I don't think we'll get her what she wants, which is more Emmys.
Kevo, take us on home. How you feeling about Canada season 6, and what did you feel about the winner in general?
I really loved this season. I feel like there isn't really much to question about who the final 4 were. I didn't necessarily love the order that the girls went home this season, because there are definitely queens I wish we'd gotten to see more from. But, this top 2 is definitely what the top 2 should have been, I feel. And I think Van Gogh did an amazing job. And she is a queen who really almost makes me sad when they win, because that means this is it unless they do an all winners of something. I want to see more of her. and she is a really good example of why I would love to see more winner mentors have a stronger presence on seasons, because she does have so much to teach and so much to give that I think would really help the show in so many ways. And I would really love to see more of her. She is an amazing talent, and she deserves to, feel that, and that, have that be properly utilized by the franchise. And so not just her, but there's so many winners that we know we would want to see more from. And so I really hope that they start doing that, because she's amazing, and I think she has a lot to teach.
I completely agree. And honestly, I don't think I have loved black hair with black leather as much on Van Gogh this episode as I have since the Madonna Human Nature video. This was such a great showing for her. It's one of those things where, you said it earlier, TK, and you really nailed it. Sasha Colby came in and just sort of snatched the crown before anybody had a chance. And so what if it's a Colby and out? That's fine. But I think Van Gogh did the work, and I think she put in the time, the blood, sweat, and tears. And one thing I will give Brooklyn that I won't give Rue is I've never seen Rue dance against another girl. And, it's not that Van, it's not that Van could beat Brooklyn. Literally, growing up, I saw a lot of dance, and I think Brooklyn is one of the finest dancers I've ever seen in my life. It's that Van held her own on that stage. It's not always about winning. It's about surviving to prove. And I don't know that anything is as drag as that. And so those are my final thoughts. Tori, what are your final thoughts? Say goodbye to Canada season 6. We got other shit to talk about. And where can everybody find you on the interwebs?
I mean, thank you, Canada. Thank you for giving us Virgo Queen looking so amazing in this step down look. I think, this is so exciting. I'm so excited to see what we get next season. And you can find me thinking about that for the next year at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I.
Jonah.
Congratulations to all the girls. Season 6 of whatever it is stays winning. 6 is the magic number when it comes to a main series season. So, looking forward to whatever 6s come else in our lives. Congratulations to Van. Congratulations to Hazel for winning Miss Congeniality. Congratulations to all the girls for making an amazing season. I was thoroughly entertained. Y'all did amazing. Please be proud of yourselves. And if you would like to follow me and, message me about whatever, find places online at Peak Jonah.
Kevo, there has not been a more prolific producer since Dr. Dre. Tell me, what are your final thoughts on this season, and where can we find you on the interwebs?
I'm going to have to think about that. This was ultimately a really rewarding season, and I am excited to see what will come next out of Canada. Will it be a new season? Will it be a versus the world? Who knows? You can find me to talk about that at Kevo Really. That's KEVO REALLY.
TK, my partner in crime, you got to tell me final thoughts and where we can find you online if we want to read more thoughts after your final thoughts, a postscript, as it were.
This was just a really great season, and it makes me really happy that Canada completely holds its own. They're giving us all these great shows, whether it's this or Heated Rivalry. I think my really biggest thing is I'll be really interested to see how they cross promote next year, because they did not know they had this year, but now Crave knows that they have 2 of the biggest queer Canadian things of all time, and that we all eat it up. So it'll be interesting to see how they put those together. And if you want to talk to me about that or anything else, you find me at TK Accidental. Big man, last but not least, give us your final thoughts and where can we find you?
I just don't love all of this Project Runway erasure, where Project Runway Canada, the only other concurrent...
Is that on Crave though?
Is
yes.
it? Yeah,
it is? Okay.
it's Crave. And so and it had literally its highest rated season in Canada ever this year. So I just want to put out there,
Yeah, put
that,
them all together.
hey Leland, my emotional journey alongside you was
Yeah.
literally one of the most fulfilling experiences I've ever had with a reality competitor in my entire life, and I don't know that I'll ever recover from how hard I rooted for you and your final collection. It was literally one of the most exciting things I've ever gotten to see. But to this show, I do wish Caramel had been there. I do wish Hazel had been there. I do wish Velma had been there. I guess what I'm saying is I wish the finale was the entire cast from the entire season. Anyway, check me out, Nico Action, NICO ACTION. If you guys want to check out the music you guys heard in the background, check it out here on YouTube, on SoundCloud at Nico Action Music, NICO ACTION MUSIC. But the most important thing you guys can do, follow this show with this amazing cast here at X's for Show, where we love you guys. So please keep on the likes, on the comments, and on the subscribes. You know who comments? Van Goth. Don't you want to be cool like Van Goth? So do us a favor and get in that game. But otherwise, we've got 3 things we need you guys to do. Number 1, stay safe, like heated rivalries chance at renewal. Number 2, be brave, like Drag Race, for doing what it does. And number 3, evolve daily, like Project Runway, because who you were yesterday, amazing. Who you are today, fantastic. But it's who you are tomorrow that's going to snatch that crown. So until then, stay safe.